Episode 23. If the Sabbath was just for Jews, why did God establish it at creation? Key text: Genesis 2:2-3. And on the seventh day, God ended his work, and he rested, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. If the Sabbath was only for Jews, why did God establish it at creation, long before there was a Jew, an Israelite, or even sin? In Genesis 2:2-3 we read, "And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it." This is the origin of the Sabbath. Not at Mount Sinai, not in the wilderness, not after the Exodus, but on the seventh day of Earth's history, right after the world was created. There was no sin, no Mosaic law, no ceremonial system, only God, his creation, and the seventh day set apart as holy. So where do people get the idea that the Sabbath is just for Jews? Nowhere in the Bible does God say, "I created the Sabbath only for the children of Israel." Instead, Jesus said in Mark 2:27, "The Sabbath was made for man, not for Jews, not for one nation, but for mankind, the entire human race." The Hebrew word for man in Genesis 1 and the Greek word anthropos in Mark 2 both refer to humanity, not ethnicity. So let's ask the real question. If the Sabbath was created before sin, why would it be destroyed after salvation? The Sabbath was born in a perfect world, untainted by rebellion. And according to Isaiah 66:22-23, it will be kept in the new heaven and new earth, in eternity. That means the Sabbath bookends human history. It began in Genesis. It will continue in Revelation, and it was never tied exclusively to the Jewish people. Here's what Sunday defenders won't tell you. If you remove Genesis 2 from the Sabbath conversation, you disconnect it from its foundation. But if you accept Genesis 2, then you're forced to admit the Sabbath was part of God's perfect design. Before Abraham, before Moses, before Judaism even existed. That's why the fourth commandment in Exodus 20:8-11 says, "Remember the Sabbath day," because it points back to creation, not Sinai. It's not a new invention. It's a reminder of something ancient, sacred, and eternal. Let's confront the real reason people claim the Sabbath is Jewish. They want to dismiss their obligation to obey it. They've embraced a theology that separates the Old Testament from the New, law from grace, God's authority from man's convenience. But Jesus didn't separate the Sabbath from creation. He confirmed it. He kept it. He protected it from legalism, and he declared himself Lord of the Sabbath, not the destroyer of it. You cannot erase the origin of the Sabbath without erasing the authority of the Creator who sanctified it. So here's the challenge. If God made the Sabbath before there was a Jew, and Jesus said it was made for all mankind, and it will be honored by all flesh in the new earth, Isaiah 66:23, then what gives anyone the right to say, "That's not for me"? The Sabbath isn't a Jewish shadow, it's a creation truth. And when you reject it, you're not rejecting Judaism. You're rejecting the foundation of worship itself. So I ask you, if the Sabbath existed in a world without sin, why don't you want it in a world full of it? Because the very first thing God called holy wasn't a mountain, a city, or a person. It was a day, the seventh day, the Sabbath, made for you.